Welcome to the No Ideas Original Podcast featuring Shannon and Mr. Rob, episode 152.
God bless us, bro.
I know, yo, we really getting it done, man. We really getting it done. This is our next to last episode before we actually have our little Christmas. What is it? We have like a little holiday hiatus, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
Little hiatus. We got a nice one. We got a nice one in the tuck with Nashawn though. Like I've been getting a lot of feedback from people from just like the little clip, the little trailer. So a lot of people are looking forward to seeing that. So we got to tease that. We can't put that all out at once.
Too exclusive.
Yo, happy birthday, man!
Thank you, bro.
Some milestone birthday for you. 50, the big 50. How you feel?
Big 50, man. I was talking with the wife, and it's amazing because there isn't a thought that I have that I've talked about. Wait till I get 50, or when I get 50, this is gonna be this or that. Let alone, we grew up in eras where 18 was the cutoff. He wasn't sure if he was gonna make it to 18, and then to 21 and 25.
Yeah.
When I reached 40, that was milestones. Here it is, 50. Let me tell you, and it feels as if not just another day, but because it just feels very honorable to make it to 50. Like, blessing, I'm not on drugs. I didn't get locked up. I don't have a record. You know what I'm saying? I had a pretty decent corporate career. I'm from the Bronx. I grew up in situations, I don't know what my future looked like. And to be sitting here talking to you at 50 years old, I'm feeling great. You know what I'm saying? And going through the kidney situations, I triumphed through a lot of different things. So I'm very, very appreciative, bro.
Yeah. Nah, that's
good looking. I see you. Appreciate
that's good to hear, man. Yo, so what you end up doing on your birthday?
We hit the mall. We did little stuff. Caught me a hat and stuff. Got my little joint right here. Go, nothing too crazy. I mean, Saturday is when everything is supposed to be put together. So that's what I'm looking forward to. So we went out. We did go to Maggie McFly's, one of my spots that I do like to go eat and have a good time.
Yo, I've never gone. Everybody tells me great things about it, but I've never gone.
Got some good food in there. Now you would think with a menu as big as that, got a plethora of stuff. You would think like, it's just like a diner. Not like a diner, bro. The food in there is exceptional.
What's up, yo? How you doing?
Space Universal.
Yeah, yo. So this particular episode is near and dear to me because I think anytime you have an opportunity to have family come on and talk about some of the great things that they're doing, it's a blessing. But it also kind of coincides. I'm thinking like with like when your milestone of 50, right? Because hip hop also turned 50 or turns 50. Is it 50 next year?
50 next year, 73. So 50 I came right before. I squeaked out right before the first bongo hit. So
50 next year. And one of the things I have to say honestly about hip hop is that over the years, the capitalization and with capitalism in place in hip hop, a lot of our stories are being rewrote and it's being told by people who don't represent or look like us. And I'm fearful that 30 years from now, when the history books open and people are talking about hip hop, everything that we know about the inception of hip hop is going to look something completely different, right? It's going to kind of be like a Christopher Columbus situation. We're going to be like, yo, this dude actually created hip hop. James Taylor created hip hop in Idaho when he was out in the cornfield type thing. But yo, I say all that to say that I'm happy to bring to the platform my father-in-law, Dancin Doug, one of the original first generation b-boys. He can't hear us?
You can't hear us?
You can't hear us? You can hear me though, Rob, right?
I can hear you, yes, sir.
It's on you, and you may have got a phone call. Did you get a phone call on your phone? Oh, he can't hear us. All right, so I'm gonna pull him out and then I'll troubleshoot behind the scenes with him. But yeah, so I just, like I said, like if you think about like the whole piece around capitalism and where hip hop is going and what hip hop potentially could look like 50 years from now. It's a scary situation.
It is a scary situation because so much has been usurped from, you know, the energy of what hip hop has brought between fashion and style and, you know, oratorically speaking, MCing and DJing and, you know, art of graffiti. Elements have vastly spread out and broadened out and have made millionaires and billionaires off of this one art form that we call hip hop. And, you know, it's a great thing, man. But 50 years from now, I'm hoping it still has legs. You know what I mean? Because there's some parts of it that have been watered down and transformed. Like you said, Justin Bieber gonna be Cool Herc in 50 years. You know what I'm saying? But we don't want that. So, you know, we got Doug coming through to give us.
All right.
There you go.
There you go.
I'm back.
What's up, Big Chief?
So tell us. Let's get right to it. Tell us how you got into dancing and what inspired you to actually start dancing.
I used to always dance, you know, as a kid. You know, I used to do the old James Brown for the ladies out there on the around the block. They're throwing quarters to you when you was a little kid.
Nice.
And I used to dance real fast, you know, real fast. I'd be zipping across the floor like this. I started off like that, but I always, you know, like my brother Bobby could play guitar, Daryl could play the drums. I couldn't play the bass to save my life, but I could dance, you know. So we was like the Jackson 5 minus 3.
Yeah. And how'd you end up getting the name Dancin Doug? Tell us that story.
Actually, Coke LaRock, you know, the first MC actually named me. Coke named most of us. You know, he named the twins. He named Trixie. You know, Wallace, DK. You know, Sasa had his name already. El Dorado, Mike, all these guys from the original Herculoids. It was actually Coke LaRock. They used to call me Doug from downtown because I came from Harlem. And I came to the Bronx, hang out with him in the Bronx. They used to call me Doug from downtown. And when he got to, I think to Executive Playhouse or the Hevelo, he started calling me Dancin Doug from downtown. That just became Dancin Doug.
And for those who don't know who Coke LaRock is, tell people who Coke LaRock is.
Coke was cool DJ Herc. You know, Herc's, he was actually his MC. Coke would be a guy on the microphone, you know, with the echo chamber, calling everybody out, you know. And a lot of people be saying that they said, well, Coke wasn't this, he wasn't that. And I'm like, who told you that? Somebody told you something like that. Unless you were there, they said, well, Coke didn't rhyme. You know, I'm like, I could tell you some of his rhymes on top of my head. How can you tell me he didn't rhyme? Somebody told you he couldn't rhyme. I could tell you he should rhyme. He didn't rhyme all the time. You know, so you figure you had like Coke doing his thing. Hollywood comes up later. Hollywood was like a master rapper. Like, you know, Hollywood was in a world of his own. But Coke was with Kirk with that hard b-boy music. It was Coke on the mic. Herc playing those crazy songs. Herc would go find some crazy out of left field, Baby Huey stuff that nobody heard about. The Mexican nobody heard about. He would find those songs. Some even like crazy rock and roll songs, but they had a little break in that beat, that hard break. He'd find that. That's what so he used to rock with, that hard break.
Yeah. Was it the break in the song that really inspired the dance?
Oh yeah. Well, you know what it was? See, when it first started, it actually was, people used to call it a dance called burning, and they would be doing that burning thing. And that's what it really was initially. So like a lot of people say, they go back to this August 11th, 1973 date, right? That's to say the start of hip hop at Cool Herc's party for Cindy's back to school party. But the reality is that there was DJs before, there was MCs before, we was dancing before. It's just that when it came to that one spot, it all sort of came together and it blew up because it was the kind of music Herc that was playing. Just like people say, well, this dance move, there's no original dance move, right? Somebody else did that dance move. Somebody spun their head before. Somebody did backspins before. You see videos, people in Africa doing this stuff, right? From the 50s, But to this kind of music, because at that time, it was a disco era. Disco was it. Disco was supreme. Herc comes out with this hard stuff like that. It was soul music and disco music. That's right. And Herc came out with this real crazy stuff he would play. But we still played, he still played cool jazz things, Blackbirds, different songs there. What was that? What's from my Dominoes, Eddie Kendrick, Body Heat, real cool. He had the cool song. He played. He played slow songs too. We used to dance slow records. He put once you hear that one song from the Delphonics, "For the Love I Gave You," he said, "And are you gonna love me? You're gonna wanna hug me." You had to run to find the girl you want to dance with, because at that point, seven slow songs went in a row. If you ain't had the girl you wanted right then, you was done. She got somebody else hemmed up. You done the rest of the night. My man got it for the rest of the night. You done. So you got to wait. As soon as you hear that, as soon as you hear, "And are you gonna love me?" Boom. You gotta know. But that's just because you knew how Herc played the songs,
Yeah, that was the element of the party that's missed right there. When the slow jam came on, it was like, all right, where's she at, son? Where's she at?
Man. That's for real. And see, I tell these other young guys, I said, y'all don't understand. Dancing to slow music taught you how to make love. Because you learned to control your body and everything. You learn to move slowly, though. You talking a little bit of stuff. The perfume coming up the collar like this, hitting you. You learn all these things. But see, they laugh. But that's real, though. See, they missing that because there's no more connection between people no more. Girls over there, guys over here. They not touching. What you touching me for? Like, what you grab me for? We was doing the 500. It was a dance. They do the grind. They do what they call the 500. They go all the way down to the floor like this. They come all the way back up. Go all the way down, But you learn to control your body movements,
Yeah. Talk about the evolution of the dance, because you mentioned earlier, you were saying like from burning to what's now, I guess, commonly known as breaking. Like, what happened from then until now, and what was in between from burning to breaking?
So it started with people burning, right? When Herc mastered that technique called the merry-go-round, he would take that little hard break of the song and cut it over and over and over. Because back then we danced the entire record. Like now you see the kids, they jump out, they do the little 6-step, and they start breaking. They stop, the other guy get out, he starts breaking. He stops, he get up, he starts breaking. We just danced, we broke the whole song, the entire song. Wow. The difference is when Kirk started, when you would dance to say a song like Get Into Something, at the very end, give the drum something, give the drum something. When that little break in the song came, you do your little fly move, and that was it. You start cutting that break over and over and over. You to make up something new and something new and something new and something new each time. So the break would longer and longer and longer and longer. And that's all this. It's no science to this. That's all it was. By him extending that break, you had to keep on breaking because he kept extending the break. So it became break dancing. So we became break dancers, and eventually came from break dancers called them b-boys. Yeah, breaking boys.
I asked you that. I was gonna say, so where the term b-boy come from then?
It comes from breaking boys. And see, Sasa was the first person, like Trixie, Wallace D, myself, Teeny Rock. We were like, they call us break dancers because we were the older ones. Sasa and Bobo came in the twins, James Bond, Clark Kent, Rossi, Chubby, El Dorado, Mike, Timmy Tim, Kimmy Kim, Mother Earth, Sister Boo, Aileen, Darlene, Dancin Doug, Gracie, Sandra, Janet Rock, all those girls. We had girls with us. It wasn't just all guys. It was guys and girls. So when they would do this little break thing, that breaking thing became the Breaking Boys because we would break because that song would make us break and break. Then he started calling us b-boys, but the first person was Sasa. I called Sasa an A1 b-boy, and they started calling all of us b-boys. So the term b-boy is our term. So a guy told me about 4 years ago, well, we do something different from you, so y'all ain't b-boys. And I'm like, yo, Slice, how can you say that? That's our term. You may not be a b-boy if you want to change the game, but we're a b-boy because the term b-boy is our term. You can't take that and just say, well, you're not this. And my point to him was, even though we did something in the beginning, it evolved to what you're doing, though 5-10 years later. What the kids are doing now is different from what you're doing. So that if you say I'm not a b-boy, that means some kid nowadays look at you and say, well, you're not a b-boy because you're not doing what I'm doing. Right. You got to be logical with this. This thing evolved from the burning to the break dancing, and then in like 75, end of 75, you have the TBB comes in, the Bronx Boys, and they added the rock dance into it. And that's where you get this whole the up rock and top rock and down rock.
Okay.
That so comes in.
Breakdancing turned into up rock and top rock.
Right. And see, now that's where now someone telling me used to be a top rocker. I'm like, I never knew what top rock meant. I never heard the expression before. I'm serious. I never even heard that before because
Yeah.
at our time when we was dancing, that wasn't prevalent then. That came after we were gone. So then it became somebody say that you top rock because you dance up. But we used to dance up and go down. But we didn't go down and stay down all the time. We danced up top. We went down for a while. We came back up. We did everything. So it was a little bit different thing. Nowadays, within the evolution shows that they went from the burning to the breakdancing to the top, adding top rock into it. And then it became more of them, started adding more of they call power moves.
Right, that's where the acrobatics and all that come in.
Right, and that's the next bump. So the first evolution comes from burning to breakdancing. That's the first bump. Then breakdancing to we added rock dancing, second bump. Then breakdancing to power moves, third bump. Now we got just straight crazy. Just they doing all kind of
it's
right. They out now. These kids
on the elbow.
So back then? What was the criteria to be actually qualified or considered to be a b-boy?
You had to have a good dancing skill because you couldn't just now. The example, a lot of these kids now. They don't really dance. They can just do all these acrobatic moves. They're not dancers. We were dancers. You had to be a good dancer. And you go into a circle, like Hollywood said something. He said you could fake being a DJ, you could fake being an MC, but you can't fake being a b-boy.
Yeah.
Because you get in that doggone circle, you got to be able to do your thing in that circle. You couldn't just be faking it all. You can't fake inside those circles. You can't fake in the circle. You cannot fake that. You got to know you got to have your moves set up. We had what they call signature moves. Like I would do Charlie Chaplin, or I would do walking the tightrope, or the motorcycle, with the bird or the Mexican. I had a big old sombrero and the little charger thing. I put the sombrero down, danced around the thing like that. It was all fun stuff though.
That's what's up. That's dope.
Yeah. So hip hop, if you look at now, hip hop is probably a multi-billion-dollar industry. And breaking, as we know it, has seemed to really take off more so overseas than in the States. What do you attribute that to?
Well, I think the thing was when hip hop started, it was breaking that made hip hop. It's no ifs, ands, and buts. Because you had Herc was playing here. You had Mario playing over that part of the Bronx. You had Smokey playing over here. You had Bam playing over Bronx River. So you had different DJs, Pete DJ Jones, all these different DJs, Flint Boy, all the, DJ downtown playing. Everybody had good DJs. Herc had that sound system that like Flash playing over, like Flash in the South Bronx. So you had guys who had, except for the DJs that were downtown up in the Bronx, they didn't have that kind of sound system. And because Herc had that system, that blew everybody out the water.
Yeah,
His system, they called the Herculoid. His system, they were putting like little baby speakers together, wiring like 5 speakers together. Herc come out with a big joint, like a concert speaker, because his father was in a Jamaican band. So the point is that you had that music, you had the b-boys there rocking every week people came to see the b-boys and the b-girls dance. So Herc's spot became the place. You had Coke on the mic, Herc playing that crazy music, and the b-boys and b-girls dancing. Everybody came. So even like Smokey had the Smokatrons. But Bobo came to become a Herculoid. He came from Smokey. James Bond came from Smokey. Sister Boo came from Smokey. Mother Earth came from Smokey. Those were Smokey's dancers who came to Herc. Go over to the South Bronx, the Zulu Kings, Pow Wow, and Charlie Rock and all of them. They had to come to Herc's to get you to cut your teeth at Herc's parties. Everybody, Flash had to come to Flash, Melly Mel. They were b-boys. They had to come to Herc's parties. Everybody had to come to Herc's party to cut your teeth.
Herc was the place to be.
That was the place to be.
Man. I used to hear some stories about the Herculoids. I heard they was a little rough too, son.
No, we was now back in the days. Now some people's into that life. That's just the way it was, though. That's the life, But you couldn't be in Herc's doing that crazy stuff, though. They ain't tolerate that.
I always knew where a good party was or a good jam was when I was little, because anytime I heard Apache, I would go in that direction, I swear. Yeah. That's when you know it was popping off. When you heard Apache going off, go that way.
You knew that was a good move, right?
That was a good move going that way, man.
Yeah. Pluto 7 says the U.S. doesn't respect the art form. What do you think about that, Doug?
Pluto is a historian, and I credit him to all the stuff that we're doing now. I credit Pluto because Pluto started a page and they found all of us. We was all spread out all over the place. It was Pluto's research that brought us in one by one and reconnected all the b-boys from the 70s. Now, what happens is that after the b-boy era, for as far as we were concerned, started to die down, the Boricua brothers picked it up and rocked it. They took it to a whole nother level. They were doing it from
Rocksteady in them?
Rocksteady. Before even TBB first, Rocksteady comes out of TBB.
Okay.
You know, so two of the members, three guys that started Rocksteady, Jimmy B, Jimmy Lee, Jimmy D, and JoJo. Jimmy Lee and Jimmy D were from the Rock TBB. JoJo was like a free agent rocking on his own, and they all just sort of got together, started Rocksteady. After Rocksteady, you got Dynamic Rockers. Then you got the Incredible Breakers. Then you got the New York City Breakers. Then you had Floor Master Tops. You had Seven Deadly Sins. You know, Crazy Commando. It's a whole lot of them. Whole lot of different crews. The biggest ones though became TBB to Rocksteady. But the first crew was really the Zulu Nation guys. Was the first crew. Yeah. That was the first crew. Before them, it was a Zulu. It was the Herculoids. Us with the Herculoids first starting it. Then come the Zulu Nation guys. The five Zulu Masters, excuse me, who then battled and it became 10 to 11 Zulu Kings. That was the Zulu King. So Ahmed, Aziz, Shaka, who just passed away, God bless his soul, Squirpy. He was at the award last year. Yeah. Zambu and who was the last? I said, yeah, Shaka, Ahmed, Zambu, Aziz, and who was the last one? It's five Zulu Kings, Zulu Masters, and then we go to five more. It's Charlie Rock, Powwow, Marcus. They became the Zulu baby little boy Keith. They became the Zulu Kings. So to become a Zulu King, you either dance against one of the Zulu Masters and you know either go toe to toe or beat one to become a Zulu King.
Yeah, it sounds like Shaolin versus the Wu-Tang.
Yeah, it could be. And that's the first crew. Zulus are the first. That's the first crew. Right. And so they took what we was doing and bumped it up. Now TBB comes along, and Batch, who helped start TBB, they come in for. There was a graffiti crew. They come in. They start rocking with doing the rock dance and add that into it, and it just sort of blended again. So then after that, so towards the end of the 70s, I was going to college and I had kids. I was going to college and stuff like that. I was going to clubs downtown. I'm going to 371 with Hollywood. I'm going to the Fever. You know, I sort of graduated out from the Herc parties. But the Boricua brothers was rocking it, going to they down on Times Square, on the train station, and somebody just saying like they was on cardboard. They wasn't on cardboard at first. That didn't come to like the beginning of the 80s. On the cardboard stuff. This is the 70s. And see, at that point, then Rappers Delight comes out, and the rappers so guys like Melly Mel and Flash them, now they become rappers. Rap became the thing. And so rap became synonymous being hip hop. But they forgot it was the first element being not even graffiti, but the first element that really rocked it was the b-boys. We phased out. It hit when it hit the rest of the world with Beat Street and Flash Dance and other stuff. Hit the rest of the world. They picked it up and went crazy with it. We sort of graduated out of it and been like, yeah, we did that. Been there, done that. It sort of died out for us, but now it's coming back up again. That's
what I was gonna say though. Like somebody somewhere saw the opportunity to monetize it and said like, oh, there's this great art form, this dance, whatever. And I think back then, even you would hear people say, yo, it's street dance. People use the terminology like street dance, but then we had the wild style, we had the Beat Street, we had breaking, and breaking to me was like the least accurate representation of what
that was that popping stuff
dance actually was. But I'm wondering, like, from your perspective, like, because it seems like this happens in all elements of hip hop, right? Like somebody from the outside comes in and figures out a way to monetize it. Back then, did people actually have the foresight to see that, yo, this is something that could potentially be profitable?
Nah. We was just having fun. And I look and see now, after we left the scene, when Dynamic and Rocksteady, they were touring around the world. Incredible Breakers, the New York City Breakers, they were still performing for the presidents and stuff. They're going all over the world performing, literally. So they started monetizing. I'm not even sure if they made the money. Maybe their managers might have made the money, but they didn't make all that much money. But they still was actually going around the world. So even girls like Honey Rockwell, you know, Asia, Rockefeller, you know, the girl breakers, you know, who are still breaking too. So they all touring around the world, showing the art from the, you know, the New York City way, you know.
Yeah.
But the bottom line was that, did they think about monetize it like this? No, it's in Disney now. It's in the movies. It's everywhere. Well, everything we're doing, you watch kids on movies now. I was in Paris. And at a club in Paris, and I seen like 8 guys, Paris, you know, Parisians, and a real fat boy. They making fun of the fat boy. He gets down and starts trying to do my move. I'm standing right next to him, saying, "You don't even know that's my move." I'm standing right next to him. They wouldn't even know that because they just having fun with it, but it's all over the world. So
yeah, bro, 60 countries, man, between Korea, Japan, Canada, Paris. It's all over the globe.
What was the catalyst, though? What was the catalyst for the shift that made it go from, all right, this is something that's being done on the street, to wait a minute, this is now something that's being done where you dancing for the president? Like, what happened that made them say, like, wait a minute, there's value in this. This needs to be embraced.
The art is such an expressive art. When you talk to people who actually were dancers, a lot of guys came from like really kind of bad circumstances, you know, abusive homes, you know, foster care, you know, the gang life. You know, it was a lot of crazy shit going on back. Excuse my language, stuff going on back in those days that you got to escape. You go into this old dance place, and if you a good dancer, you go to this one place and you just like let it out. All that frustration, all the stuff inside you. That was your vehicle to get away from the world. And if you're a good dancer, you know, you can look at a guy like Alien Ness. Watch him. I mean, this kid is like phenomenal, you know, and you could look at him and say he's a super intelligent person, but he's also a phenomenal dancer. He's a biker. So I'm somebody looking and saying he's a biker. This guy could be in Mensa, but he's a biker. But you give him that dance floor with him, he gonna light you up, you know. And when people see that dancing, like it's so much expression, because every b-boy has his own moves that you can do certain moves. Like when we first started, no one could do the other move. You hit your own move. Nobody could do your moves. That was forbidden. Nowadays they got set moves that everybody does. You know,
that was like biting. He was biting, right?
Oh yeah, biting. You get your lip split. You know.
That's a fact. You know what? My term, I always thought b-boys was the fly dude, and this is the reason why I learned fashion. When I seen what I thought was a b-boy, his British Walkers matched his Lees, matched his BVD, matched his fucking his do-rag. And I've always watched, that's how you knew what to wear. You watch a b-boy because of how he posted up with his joint, you know what I mean? With whether his Lee suit had a graffiti joint up the leg, on the back of his coat. It was a style. That's what I thought b-boy. I thought b-boys was the fly dude.
But you know what though? Early on, we wore Kangos, right? Mock necks.
Yeah,
if you had some money, you went down to AJ Lester, you know, and you got your mock necks. You got the different color mocks. You went to Phil Crownfield. You know, you got your matching pants. You know, your seersucker, your double dip pants, your Playboys. You know, so that was people. We was fly. We was fly, and I was wearing fur coats. It was a rabbit. I had a rabbit, but you wearing a velour hat. I'm wearing a suit. I'm wearing a suit. I'm breaking the doggone suit because we thought we was gangsters back in the day. You know, we thought we was the Untouchables. That was the show back in the day. Everybody would be Frank Nitti back in them days. You know, nobody would be Elliot Ness. Everybody would be Frank Nitti.
Man, was Kool Herc back then who he is now in terms of personality?
He was crazy then. He's crazy now. Herc is my dude. Y'all know how much you know how much I love Herc. Herc will come off at you like you crazy, but you get up close to him. He's a big softy.
Right,
he's a big softy. But Herc would, you know, Herc will fuck. Excuse my language. He used to mess with a lot of people though. Like Flash would come, he'd be like, "Yo, Flash, listen to the bass. Boom, the boom, the boom, boom. Here's the mid range. You know." But Flash said that made him go back and you know, get his game up to go because Herc would mess with him so much, you know. Herc is just Herc, you know.
Yeah,
you know, that's who he was. Herc. One time I was going to the Twilight Zone, and the Twilight Zone is like you go up these stairs. It's a church now up on Burnside and Jerome, and you go up these stairs, and Herc would be the top of the stairs, be like, "You can come up. You over there, you come up, and you down there, you can come up." And you got to like fight your way through the crowd. And so Herc told me to come up. This guy said, "Yo, Herc, you dead, man. You just ain't lay down yet."
Wow.
You know, because Herc was like, "Yeah," and Herc said, "Yeah, that's why your ass ain't getting in."
Man, yeah, Kurt. I mean, yeah, cool. Herc. I had the opportunity to interact with him. Like, yeah, he's definitely a character. Like interacting with him, but his contribution is undeniable, man.
Oh,
and,
he's it. He's the father. He's the father of hip hop.
Yeah,
hands down.
I just wish that he could be compensated as the father of it. And like we always talk about a lot on this podcast, the continuum of like people. Sadly, the people who were first through, they pay dues and they don't get the wage of the people who come along later. But at least people, I feel like universally it's recognized that he's the person that fathered hip hop.
Yeah, he is. He is. And in terms of being a pioneer, most pioneers never get the credit for it. You look at the guys NFL, guys playing with broken ribs and eye sockets halfway fractured, and they dragging the leg split, ACL torn. They still out there playing. They got $50,000 a year.
Yeah, if that, they was probably a plumber in the off season.
Yeah, and nowadays they break a nail. They go, whoa, and getting 50 million. They go, oh, my nail's broke. I can't play.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about the creation of the Breaking Hall of Fame. What made you start it and why it's important?
Well, actually, when I started it, there was a legacy committee for the Olympics, and there was a discussion about it, about we should do a Hall of Fame. And I forgot the guy who said it though. And we were thinking like it's a good idea. We bounced around some ideas, but we just never got to doing it, And so, like I always tell people, I said I'm not one to sit around. I mean, I see the goal, I take off after the goal, whatever it is. So the first thing we did was we try to recognize the Herculoids, and then I said the Zulu Kings and TBB, because that's really the first generation guys, plus the Zulu Kings and TBB are like the seeds that really start the whole thing to go. So that was in 2021. And then the follow-up, I said the first official class going in, let's recognize the biggest crews that made the thing jump. So we got Rocksteady in, we got the Dynamic Rockers in, we got the Incredible Breakers in, we got the New York City Breakers, original New York City Breakers in, and we got the Air Force Squad from the West Coast. That was the biggest crew out from the West Coast too, to recognize them. Because a lot of times people go about to just the East Coast guys and forget about the West Coast.
Yeah.
So my thing is always be all inclusive. So the next thing I said, that on top of that, the crews, let's recognize the individual people who really were blazers, like Alien S. Also Beaver, who was a baby Zulu, who a lot of people credit from the Rocksteady crew and credit Beaver as being the first one that they saw who did all these kind of real fly moves. That he was one of the best dancers, even though he's a baby Zulu. He was called Baby Shaka from Squirpy, from Shaka. But they recognized Beaver, saying Beaver was the first one that they really saw that set it off for them. But then saying Beaver and Alien Ness for the individual Blaze Awards. Then we said we also want to recognize some other people like Fable, who was a pop locker, who's Pop Master Fable, and Quickstep. And then we said on top of the first the crews, the Blazers, and then we went for the international awards. So I got Sadowski from Poland, who helped start in Poland, and Carlito from Ecuador, who helped start. Now you look at some of these people that in some of these countries, like in Peru, they would get beat by the police because they were doing an American dance at that time. When Pinot was the president, a dictator, if they couldn't do something American, they would beat them. Or one of the girls from Uruguay who had to dress like a boy for like 6 months because they wouldn't let girls break dance. And she'd dress with a hat on and hide her stuff for a whole 4 or 5 months, 6 months before they finally got too hot one day and she just the jig was up, that she was actually a girl, But that's that serious dedication to the game. They were serious about the game. And so we got the international awards in. And then finally, I said the most important award was the culture, passing the torch, to say you kept this thing going. So you got people like Honey Rockwell and Orko, who Orko's one of the West Coast guys, but they're married. Honey Rockwell has a school in Georgia here. You got Asia Yu, who does the bboy summit out in she's in Colorado, but out in California, who does the summit, the bboy summit, which was going for the 20 some odd years. Then you got Chris Cross One, who did the freestyle session for like over 20 some odd years. And finally, you had Rockefeller and Quickstep, who do it in the New York area. So these are the people who actually kept the culture going throughout the years. I said we want to recognize them. So every year, those 4 categories, we're going to recognize crews, individual blazers, international b-boys and b-girls, b-boys and b-girls, and also the most important one is the culture one, kept the culture going.
Yeah. So, you know, one of my concerns is that with the Olympics around the corner and now this becoming a, you know, more prevalent and the popularity swinging back around to it, is that corporations are going to come in, swoop down again, and yet again figure out another way to further monetize it. And then the people who actually have been consistent and dedicated to the craft behind the scenes, putting in that work, are going to get cut out. What do you think that that folks could do to make sure that the corporations don't take it over this time?
That's a hard one because, you know, you wave a couple of dollars in front of some people, they'll sell you down the river. You know, that's just unfortunate. That's just, you know, human beings being what it is. A lot of people, like my thing is, I'm trying to make sure that all the pioneers get compensated. Because there's guys out there, I mean, literally, we had guys who didn't have gas to even get to the award ceremony. Wow. And these are guys who actually started this dance, and people making billions off of this. Yeah. And people are struggling who actually are the ones who actually made this dance what it is today. And so my goal was to say, let's number one, get them recognized, get it recognized by the state, by the Congress, and everything, showing these are the people who actually did this. And then let's go try how we monetize it, saying if they're going to go out and say, number one, you want somebody that can represent what this is, talk to these people. Because these are the ones who actually did it first. It's so many of us that you can pick anybody that can go out and represent and say, I know it because I was there. When someone tell me about a Herc party, and they telling me where the Herc party was at, and I'm like, you know, who are you? You be like, you was 12, like you wasn't even born yet, you know.
And you know who's saying that? A choreographer from Beverly Hills.
Yeah. You know, but even some of these rappers, you know, and I'll say some rappers saying, well, you know, Coke didn't rap. Like, who told you that? You know, who told you that? Somebody told you that. But I can sit there and tell you some of his rap off the top of my head because I know I was there. But because someone told you, or someone told him, someone told somebody, and they told you something erroneous, and the story kept going, y'all still saying the same thing, but you don't know what y'all talking about because you wasn't there. You know, so that's why I tell one guy told me one time, he says, well, I created the hustle. And I'm like, okay. Well, I didn't create the hustle. I can't speak to that because I learned to do the hustle. I could hustle my behind off, but I didn't create the hustle. So I said, well, maybe you did. But you can't tell me about breakdancing because you're going to tell me about breakdancing. You wasn't there. I was there. So I can tell you about this. I can't tell you about that. If you tell me you create the hustle, you can have that because I don't know.
Who created the hustle? Didn't you say your mom taught you how to do the hustle?
That's the whole thing.
My mom taught me how to do the hustle when people came over. My son could do the hustle. Watch it. He used to be right in the middle of the living room doing the hustle, bro. For real.
Hustle is part about Chip, you know, Mad Hatter. That's the hustle king. We know hustle was part of our dance, you know, repertoire. You had to be able to hustle, had to be able to slow dance, and you had to be able to break dance. You know, that's it.
Yeah. Let me tell you, every party I went to, chicks was waiting for Rob to come because I know how to hustle.
There you go.
Oh man, Pluto says the people on the U.S. Olympic board are B-girls and B-boys. I think that'll definitely help. I just know that I fully got myself ready. That the commercials are gonna be. It's gonna be a McDonald's commercial with somebody breakdancing, a T-Mobile one. You're gonna see everybody and their mom. You know, it's gonna be at all the NBA halftime, whatever it is. Everything is gonna be about breaking now. And you know, again, like I agree with you. I hope that the people who actually were the founding fathers of it can capitalize and eat off of it. And it's just not McDonald's making money off of it, you know, and say, hey, well, here's a sponsorship. Here's a gift card for $100 worth of Big Macs. You know, you didn't sold out your whole culture for $500. And that's what it's going to be. You know, with the Olympics coming around, it's going to be big money behind breaking.
It is.
What's your feelings of it reaching the Olympics?
I think it's a great thing, you know, because a lot of people get mad saying you look at it as being a sport. It doesn't change who we are. If you're a B-boy this culture, you was a B-boy this culture. You're a B-girl in this culture, you was a B-girl in this culture. If someone goes out and competes, just like you go into a battle, you dance against somebody, you're battling. You know, Now, the thing is, it opens up opportunities. It's part of the evolution because it evolved. It kept evolving. I used to tell everybody they were fighting about who's the first one, who's the first one. I said that's the most ridiculous argument in the world. It's who's next. Forget who was first. Who's next? If you don't have a next, it dies. You always need another next. You always need another next. Now we evolve into something to the Olympics. That's a beautiful thing because now it opens the door for the rest of the world. Let's talk about the shadows as being, that hood kid dance to something that's recognized. And now you can get schools coming out where people can go and teach in schools, or get curriculums at universities to go out and teach about what you know about this culture. So it's a lot of opportunities there. Hopefully we can capitalize on it. Not just them, but we can capitalize on our culture.
All right, so here's $1 million question. You've been around the world and seen people dance. Is the USA bringing home the gold?
Hell yeah. I gotta say that, you know that. But listen, USA just won the Red Bull BC1 joint, right?
Right, yeah.
We just won that. So hey, I'm not saying off the top of my head. I mean, we just won the Red Bull BC1 was USA. So
yeah,
I'm going to USA.
Yeah, I agree with this. The culture has to be proactive. I think it does. I think though sometimes, sadly, I think that sometimes when you get bogged down the actual creative portion of things and the artistic piece, sometimes you lose sight of the actual monetization of it. And there are other people that's watching on the side like, they can make money. I can make money off of that. And then we always end up getting the short end of the stick. But I do see the Olympics as an opportunity to further advance the art and to restore limelight to it. What did you think about when you first saw like those movies, the representation of breaking, like like from Wild Style to Beat Street to breaking? And I was young then, and I looked at the difference between Wild Style to breaking, and from seeing breaking, I was like, this is not an accurate representation of what the dance is. Like, this is like the glamorized, colorful version, the Technicolor Disney version of breakdancing. Although it was universally recognized in the hood that Turbo was a great dancer.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And matter of fact, it broke my heart because Shabadoo, when we were on a b-boy call every Tuesday at 9 o'clock for like 2 years. And I was going to California to interview him, and he died.
Wow! Right
before I interviewed him. So to show you how important it is, I tell you this one story. Well, Shinar, I interviewed Curtis Blow, Little Lep from the New York City Breakers, Wallace D. It took me 2 years to find Wallace D. He was one of the very first guys put up. Trixie, Wallace D, me, Teeny Rock, from the very first older guys. The very first ones.
Right.
It took me 2 years to find them. But that particular day, we did Wallace D and Trixie, who found out in the car that they were actually cousins. They didn't even know they were cousins. They found they were cousins while we were driving to do the interview up at the office there.
Yeah.
2 weeks later, while we were doing the interview, Wallace said, "Man, it's really good to be all together now. It's a great thing. Boom, boom, boom. We're still alive, looking good." 2 weeks later, I'm in Mexico. I get a phone call about 3 o'clock. Wallace D had a heart attack and died. About 7 o'clock, I got another phone call. Curtis Blow had a heart attack and lived. On that same day, both of them had heart attacks. One died, one lived. I also interviewed a brother named Video from Ready to Rock crew that came out of TBB. He caught brain cancer. He died. I'm talking to Shabadoo on the phone for 2 years. We had to go interview him right before I go out to California. He died. Then we got Shaka Swerpy, who got the award for the Zulu Kings last year. I'm at Red Bull calling him saying, "Yo, where you at? Come get the tickets for the BC1 thing. Where you at?" I'm calling him. He had died that day. One of the Zulu Masters, the original 5 Zulu Masters, Shaka. So it's critical that we get our history documented because everybody's not gonna be around all the time.
Right.
And so when you see people that was in these movies, I used to see people. I'm gonna be honest. It's like we did 73, 77. I was promoting parties. Herc was playing our party at the Promenade. I took Herc out to Queens College to play. He lit Queens College up in 77. They were like, "What the hell is this?" Herc lit him up. Herc and I played at Baruch one time. We played at the Promenade by Marble Hill by JFK High School twice. Herc played for me. He told me I don't play for nobody. The only person I played for was you. That's because that was my man. But the thing was though is that when I used to see people dancing like, you know, end of the 70s, I'm like, y'all still doing this? You know, and I'm not seeing you see on the train in 1980, y'all still doing this? 85, y'all still doing this? You know, I never thought it would keep on going. So that's why I said it's a credit to the people who kept it going. That's why they get this ridiculous argument about blacks and Puerto Ricans. I'm saying that's the dumbest argument in the world.
Yeah.
We were like this. We all grew up in the same hood together, same tenements together. And they try to separate us. I said they can't separate us because without us, it's no them. Without them, it's no us. You know, we all together, we like this. That's why I tell people, cut that crap out. That's ignorance, trying to separate us. First of all, you came out the hood, out the projects. Who was you blowing up? Was you living like, you know, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? You live in the projects. Cut that out. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man, you talk about documenting. Tell us about the documentary that you're working on.
Oh yeah, man. We did like over 170 interviews, and now we're getting ready to go to the part to start to transcribe. We're doing the storyboard now to start transcribing. I've written the storyboard up, showing the actual flow, which I've done, and pulled the interviews out for each one. And then I spoke to this one guy, Danny, supposed to come from Red Bull, supposed to come help me with the editing in January. So hopefully that works to get this editing done. I want to drop it by the summertime, by August 11th. That's my goal, to get out by August 11th. That's it. The documentary. Excuse me?
How long you been working on it?
Oh, since 2017, I think.
Yeah, quite a few years.
Yeah, because we got shut down for COVID.
Oh, absolutely.
But Netflix had approached Kurt to do the documentary about the first generation guys. And Kurt got sick with his heart failure. Yes, he asked me to pick it up. So I decided not to do it about the first generation, but to do it to show the comprehensive move, to show everybody how it moved from the beginning all the way to where we are today. So I changed the scope of it. But I'm glad I did that, because now you can actually see how the dance evolved. You can see the moves evolve.
Right.
And so you see, as I said, at the bottom, you have a timeline. But on the graph, you have the timeline showing 73 to where you are, 75 when this happened, 76, 77, 79, 81, all these things happening. Then you also have a progress line. You see how the dance got better and better and better. So that chronological line is the bottom showing the dates. The progress line's up the top going up. So dance keeps evolving and keeps going. And you see the bump, the first bump from burning to breaking. Next bump, add the rock dance in. Next one, add the power moves in. The acrobatics, you know. And then you go to where now it's just straight. They put a Dogo helmet on like they don't stay in space. You know?
Where's it at that they created the mural for you?
Uganda. In Uganda. That's cool. My man Alex did that for me. A b-boy out there. And I thought he was joking when he said he's gonna do it for me, but he was serious, you know. I thought he's like, yeah, right. You do a mural, yeah, right. You know.
Nah, that's dope, man. You have to have a mural out there. You come on, son. Who does that?
That's a good look. But I can't tell you how proud I am about how things are going with this b-boy thing. Even last night to go see Curtis Blow at the hip hop Nutcracker. You know, to see him after what he went through, having like heart attack, heart failure, all these different things he went through multiple times. He couldn't even leave countries because his heart was so bad he couldn't even fly. And he got a new heart. He got a heart transplant. And I interviewed him, I think it was in 2020, I think it was, out in California. And he was like, you know, talking labored breath. And now he's out there doing his thing. He's back to being Curtis Blow again.
He got like a whole new engine in him now.
Yo, bro, I'm gonna tell you something, man. Me and Kurt used to battle. We was like 15. We used to battle. Before he's a rapper, he's a b-boy.
Right.
Before he's a rapper, he's a b-boy. We used to go at it, you know. And I love that, bro. I mean, I love that boy from my heart. So to see that touched me. And then at the very end, he introduced me to the crowd there, saying, you know, this is the first b-boy, and everything. The whole crowd was giving a standing ovation to the cast. They turned and looked at me, gave me like an ovation too, and I was like, damn, you know. I'm like, yo, you don't get this. The proud moments I get with this, I can't pay money for this. I couldn't pay money, man. I love this. I love this art so much. You know, being one of the people that have something started, but I love it because I see what it does. Breaking unites everybody. We go across borders, we go across racial lines, we go across language. Everything is, you see people just seeing this dance, they nod at each other. And they start doing their thing, you know. They don't speak the same language, but that language is the dance. And it's all over the place. We got 30 million people that do this dance now. 30 million people. 30 million, brother, from our dance, from the Bronx. in
Yeah.
Harlem too, because you had Billy Bill, you know, Curtis Blow, those boys from the Hill, Danny Blue from the Hill, Carl Wright, Black Tom from Drew Hamilton. So you had Harlem B-boys too. Just like the Twins would go to Chuck Center. That was a spot in Harlem called Chuck Center. They would go down there and practice their moves down there. They would go in dance country to come back to the Bronx to do it, you know. And Clark Kent, you know, those guys, you know. But you had such great dancers, though. You know, it's lovely brothers. I love them.
Yeah. Oh man, it's exciting, and I know you didn't traveled around the country, all over the world for the interview. So I'm looking forward to it. I've been fortunate enough to see like some of the clips of it, and like I said, I was present for some of them and listen to people tell their stories and just the different timelines and everything. And I think that stuff like this is important for uniting people, and I also think it's important, like I said, like just to keep the culture alive and to keep the culture pure, where it actually belongs. Because I don't know if you heard before we brought you in, but I'm fearful like 50 years from now, when the story's told, if the story is still going to be a representation of us as being the pioneers of it, or if it's going to be somebody else. I sent you that clip of the man who said he created the electric slide.
He said he created the electric slide. He created pop locking. He created the robot. He created breakdancing. And he created the Weibo. The Weibo. He said he created the Weibo. You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That was so crazy. But you know what's crazy? DXT called me this past summer, and said he wanted to go to China. Wanted me to go with him to China because some kids were saying in China that breakdance came out of Kung Fu, and they wanted to sit and have a panel about that.
Wow.
I wouldn't even entertain that BS. Get the hell out of here. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's gonna try to, but your point is right. Everyone's trying to steal his culture and adopt it because let me say this too, it's their culture now too, because they've been doing it. They've been doing it so long now because it's considered their culture. But now they're gonna change the history of it. That's what we got to make sure we document our history. That's important. It's critical.
Yeah. Afternoon MTL B-boy said it's already changing. Yes, I said like before it's going to be Jeffrey Smith from Beverly Hills, the world-known choreographer, was the first person who decided that he was going to backspin. And when he created the backspin, that's just how it is, And sadly, people will go with it because Jeffrey Smith will be the dude who probably have the monetization. He'll show that he monetized it, and people will take that as word. I mean, if you look at other things that don't have anything to do with this, historically, this is what we've been up against in terms of when you look at the inception of stuff.
Especially
that's you get the words his story. That's his story. If he's the one who put the story out there, it becomes his story. That's the only person that's out there. That's what people are gonna come to believe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's the new one. I never heard that Kung Fu one before. I've heard other variations of it, but I've never
anybody will take a shot with stealing it, man, if they can, bro. They would try to rewrite it in a second. Jesus
you know what though? Now I told DXT, I said, you know what? Now the truth is, a lot of guys who did breakdancing early on did martial arts. I did it. A lot of guys did martial arts.
Back then, yes, sir.
But those were not martial arts moves. You know what I'm saying? You might have been flexible from doing martial arts. You might have had some, but those were not martial art moves. The original moves came out from soul dancing. The soul dancing, the original stuff came to soul dancing. The next thing came with the bump, came out from the Chinglings when the Boricua brothers brought in the rock dance. That was from the gangs that was the back in those days. So you had the Chinglings up. That was the rock dance came from that part of it. But that's not no doggone, I don't want to say some guy from Harley. I just say some guy from Hollywood or Beverly Hills saying he created this. No, you did not. You did. And the thing is though, I understand everybody wants the credit for that. But I tell everybody it's enough credit to go around because as long as you're on that long line, 73, 75, 77, 79, 84, you on that line. I told all the B-boys I meet how young they are. We on one line together. It's one line, one long line. I'm here at 73. You might be at 2022, but we on that line together. That's one line. We on that line together. So we ain't got to fight about that. Where are you on the line? What did you do to make the dance better?
And that's right.
Contribute to the dance. That's
everybody
the
contributed. Everybody contributed to some different element of it.
Right. That's it. What did you do to make the dance better? You made a new move, like Kid Freeze. Kid Freeze did the head spins, continuous head spins. He's the first guy to do head spin? No. Did he do it to this kind of music this way? Yes. That's what made this dance a little bit better. The backspin. Talk to Victor Glide. You know, Victor or Lil Lep saying he did one move where he went flying through the air and nearly killed himself, but landed on his feet. It was like,
all right, that works.
yeah. And everybody's like, oh, that's fly. Yeah, do that again. Like, I can't do that again. You know, a lot of moves came out of mistakes. Now, a lot of people got hurt doing these stuff too, though.
Yeah.
You know, like the girl Kimikaze. You know, she told me about the things she went through. You know, the dancing. What do they call it? The incredible. I'm sorry to ruin their name. The Dynamic Dolls. Dynamic Dolls. That was their name. Dynamic Dolls. Right. Dynamic Dolls. So she's spinning somebody on her head and somebody on her wrist this way, they spin around like they're on top of her head, and she's spinning around this way. That takes a lot. Victor let me tell you a story. Victor got shot in his neck, but because he was doing so many head spins, the muscle of his neck stopped the bullet, hit the artery.
Damn.
Saved his life. You see what I'm saying? This is what this dance can do. You know what I'm saying? If you don't realize, that's what this dance can do.
You stop bullets.
It stops bullets. You know what I'm saying? It stops bullets. You know, so I talk about it's so many dances, man. I hate to even leave people out. Somebody say, Doug, you ain't shout me out. It's so many people I've met along the way from doing the interviews that have impressed me and showed me what they've done to make this dance better, you know. And like I'll say, like Orko and Honey, they're married. They're down here in Georgia. They're doing all these things down here in the Southeast region for the kids. You know, it's beautiful. You know, it's beautiful. I just, but you see people who keep on, who are really stalwart for making this dance better and making it better and making it better and then teaching somebody else to make it better. And these kids are making. That's why you can't tell some kids, because the kids have their own creativity. They're doing stuff now I didn't even conceive of doing.
Right.
Didn't even conceive. But like Charlie Rock always says, Charlie Rock, from the Zulu King, Charlie Rock said, there is no Lamborghini without a Model T Ford. And that's what you got to remember.
Oh, man. Well, because the United States is extremely competitive, maybe some federal dollars will go behind helping to cultivate the dance, depending on how people finish in the Olympics. They want to fund it to make sure that competition come into play. Before you know it, it's going to be all kind of breakdancing schools popping up from grants.
That's right. That's right.
Which to me is, that's a good thing. Can you share with us some legendary b-boy stories, like battles that may have occurred?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Did you get that clip I sent you?
No, I didn't get it.
Oh,
but tell everybody about it.
Okay. Now Trixie is the first breakdancer. That was Herc's guy. He's the very first breakdancer. Me and Trixie would go at it. I came from Harlem, so I come to the Bronx because my girlfriend lived in the Bronx at that time, lived up the block on University Avenue, Burnside, and Herc and Coke would go to our house. I met them there. They told me about coming down to 1520 to the parties there, then to the Twilight Zone, then to the Hevelo, to the Executive Playhouse. As a matter of fact, this shirt, you got all the original people there on this one shirt.
Oh, yeah.
You got Bobo, Sasa, Trixie, Curtis Blow. I don't have like Billy Bill on here, but I got Darlene, Aileen Gracie, Chip, the Mad Hatter, Teeny Rock, my man Wallace D, James Bond over here, the twins over here. So knowing that we used to go, me and Trixie would go at it, because I come up there, he's established already. I walk in the door, I'm from downtown, and we going at it every week. We going at it. Trixie, we going at it, going, and I'm starching him. He said he don't remember that part, but he pulls out a bumbleclot dildo and falls to the ground with a dildo and starts jerking. The crowd went crazy.
Oh my God!
To this day, people be like, "Yo," I was talking to these kids from Germany, and they were like, "I heard about the dildo story. Who was that? That's you?" I said, "No, I'm the guy who put the dildo on." But see, that was a burn move, right? But it was hilarious. It was the funniest shit in the world. It caught me off guard. So then me and my man Teeny, we went back and learned how to do the Charleston and the Lindy Hop. Carl Wright was like, "Yo, learn how to do the Lindy Hop." We took the Charleston and Lindy Hop, put it together on Give It Up, Turn It Loose. And we got him and Wallace, and we starched him on that. We was like, "Yeah, we got you down." We was doing he's doing flips, Stormy all around. Just flipping doing the Lindy Hop on Give It Up, Turn It Loose. On Clap Your Hands Up. stomp your feet to. And we started off that way. It came up, started doing flips and stuff like this. But that's how the creativity was. Those
Right,
were the
off the
battles.
music.
Now, the next legendary battle everyone talks about is Lincoln Center, where Rocksteady and Dynamic went at it. That's the next big battle that's legendary in the b-boy history world of those two crews going at it. But early on, and then you also have where Sasa battles Trixie. Where Trixie, Sasa is one of the younger guys. He became he's up and coming baddest boy coming up. Sasa goes Trixie goes and challenges Sasa, and he pulls the dildo out again, but Sasa had sword already and came with a scissor. So he put Sasa grabbed a scissor like this and grabbed it, threw it on the ground, and stomped on it. The crowd goes wild again, right?
You see that?
You see? But that's how crazy. But we at her party, all kind of stuff. The crowd going crazy because it was just always something. Because you had to do something new every week. Because everybody came to see something new every week. So every week you tell something new. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. And when you get in that circle, it's just you that work that person. That circle, it's like a blur. It's just you and that person. You in your dance, you like caught up in your movements. You just like you take like the spirit takes over you. You just like go with the flow because it's so much creativity going on, but your body's telling you the music hitting you, the people screaming,
man.
Yeah. Could you imagine if there was camera phones back then, the kind of footage y'all have?
Man, brother, I wish to God they did, man. Yeah, it's a shame we don't have it, because if to see it as it started, and you could see how it evolved, because you're not to like the 80s or the end of the 70s saw people like taping and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But to see how it first started and everybody just dancing, having a good time, because we weren't doing it for money. No one's thinking about no Olympics or traveling around the world for we all I want to do is become. We were ghetto superstars. You want to get your reputation when you go to school. Somebody like, oh, that's such and such. Everybody smiling at you. That's all it was. You was a ghetto superstar.
Yeah. Oh man. So you gave us the date for when the documentary is expected. What else you got in the works in terms of everything that you're doing for B-boys and breaking?
Just the Hall of Fame. That's my new thing. This Hall of Fame. This is my baby. We got a new panel we starting up. I think Asia, Honey Rockwell, Rockefeller, and Quickstep going to join us with us. I got Taekwon, Nemesis, Pluto just joined me. Pluto's a historian that's joined me on for that panel. Then all the old guys, the first generation guys. So we got 3 different panels now to draw on to start to pick people for each year. So we're gonna make sure that has to be recognized every year, that we do that Hall of Fame every year. That's gonna be our thing. That's one thing. Even with the documentary, every year, once the documentary is done, that's done. Every year is gonna be the Hall of Fame. That's gonna be my thing to make sure that legacy that people are recognized every year, from wherever they come from whatever, Moscow, Poland, Uruguay, whatever, Africa, Uganda, wherever, Middle East. They got the Middle Beast crew. You got what they call the Belgians, BWA, Belgians with attitudes.
Wow.
You got all these different crews out there from all around the world. OTC, which is the crew from Moscow. They call me Grandpa. But that's cool because they recognize where we come from now. So making sure that people understand where this dance started at, and because a lot of people associate Flashdance and Beat Street as the beginning of it, because that's the first thing they saw.
Wow. Oh man, I guess from a commercial standpoint, and having that visual.
That's the only thing they were promoting.
Yeah, that's the first thing they saw. So they associate that being the beginning of it.
That's interesting. So what do they say about Kool Herc when the Kool Herc element is introduced and they actually told that information? Is it received, or do they say?
Well, they'll say we heard Kool Herc, but they don't know who we are. But I said we're the Kool Herc. We're the Kool Herc dancers. So you think about it starts with Kool Herc. We're the people of the Kool Herc that started the dance part of it. Kool Herc was a DJ, but the one who started the breaking was us. We were the ones who started the breaking part of it.
I was about to say they just think poof and 19 because B Street came out what 80,
81, 82, something like that. 83.
B Street was later than that. I feel like B Street might have been like mid 80s, right?
I don't know.
Like 83, 84.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it was around
'Cause
that.
yeah, I feel like B Street. Nah, I don't know why. I thought B Street was
What year was
84,
B
84,
Street?
84.
84. Yeah,
1984. Yeah.
yeah. Wow, I didn't realize that. I thought B Street came out a little bit later. I thought B Street probably was like maybe like 87, 88.
Nah,
Yes.
hip hop was well on its way at that point.
So then that mean because Breaking came out after Beat Street, right? So Baby Breaking was around that time.
Yes, sir.
And breaking wasn't the hard stuff. Beat Street was more of the breaking, the breakdance.
Yeah.
Breaking was more the pop stuff, right? More the West Coast type style.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I said. But to me, it was like dance and Technicolor. It was like the Disney version
Yeah.
of it.
I
But it
think
was, it was what it was, and it helped advance the culture, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at Rappers Delight. If it wasn't for that song, which everybody at that time said that was trash, but it opened the door because it was accepted by the masses because the stuff we was doing was too hard for them.
Yeah.
That was accepted by the masses. It opened the door for everybody to start rapping.
Yeah.
You gotta say God does works in mysterious ways, but that's how it was. Maybe the Olympics now, we've been around, it'll be 50 years. But the Olympics gonna open the door for the rest of the world to say, hey, I can put my kid into a breakdance school instead of them playing soccer now.
Yeah.
Right? That's where the opportunity comes that way.
How'd that come about though? Like, how did it get on the radar of the Olympics?
I think from a lot of the extreme sports, they were sort of looking for the Summer Olympics. And I think of the extreme sports and somehow the breaking came out and they started watching that and they're like, whoa. And they, then people performing, they're like, So somebody along the way was like, you know what? The Olympics were trying to catch more of a younger audience too. That's the other thing too.
Right. That makes
They're
sense.
looking for things that's going to catch a younger audience. They said, well, you know what? Let's try this. And like say skateboarding.
Skateboarding is one of the sports that's coming in 2024 at the Olympics.
Yeah,
right?
So they say try those two things, and that's cool. The door is open now. So once we get inside there, we ain't getting out. That's a wrap.
My thing is, how are they going to judge that? Are we going to have some b-boy judges over there? Like,
I hope so. I don't know. I heard they had some people in mind. I don't know who's the judge is going to be. I know one person that was supposed to be a judge who got eliminated by some other stuff, but I don't know. I would love to be a judge. I would love to be a judge. But for me, it's be difficult to extent because like I judge at one thing so far, but I look for not only can this person break, can they dance and break? Can they catch that beat? And make it look like right. But I want to be able to see it as you looking at it, the rhythm of with my ears and my eyes, not just see them jumping around.
Yeah,
or you doing it to the music. Because if you just going to break without the music, just go ahead and do it then. But if you do it to the music, you got to catch that music.
Yeah, look at this. This is. I didn't even realize this. Pluto said Breaking came out before Beat Street, but the same year. See, I don't know why. I always felt like Beat Street came out before, but it's maybe because I just gave more credence to Beat Street than Breaking.
Always ask Pluto. Pluto's the historian. Always ask Pluto.
Pluto said there's a documentary about to come out on the Breaking Beat Street rivalry. I didn't even realize it was a rivalry. I mean, I guess being that, born and raised in the Bronx,
Pluto was tapped in,
I've always associated with Beat Street and Wild Style as the closest thing I knew to hip hop culture. Like once you got into like the break-ins, the what's the other joint that Mario Van Peebles had, rapping or whatever it was, like those to me was sort of like the off spins and stuff that I was like, not really too interested in. And then of course the other movie that everybody is revered is Crush Groove. Crush Groove, not so much from a b-boy standpoint, but just like hip hop and making it global and actually creating visibility for hip hop. It's
right.
One of the renowned movies. Oh, okay, there you go. Introduced in the Junior Olympics, which had a good response. So, all right, yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, so we want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Thanks, Doug, for coming on and talking to us. We're gonna look forward to the documentary. Anything you want to leave us with? Yeah,
you know what? Make sure you support all the break dancers, the b-boys, the b-girls. This is our culture. Keep it out there in the forefront. The different events. Make sure if there's going to be something going out, go out and support them. Whatever they're doing, support them because it has to become a point in time where the ones who did all this hard work get recognized for the work they've done. It's not just the corporate entities that's going to take advantage of this, that our people who put their blood, sweat, and their tears into this gets recognized for the work they've done.
That's a fact. If you're not following the No Ideas Original Podcast, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and make sure you tune in for future episodes. Go back and look at our catalog. We also have lots of other great interviews. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in.